Hey guys, what is up? Zach here with another episode of Tyrannosaurus Techs. And this video is going to be relatively short since it was kind of a surprise video and I didn't say anything about it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This video is primarily on smartwatches, and the major manufacturers of September 2015 are the primary focus, and that includes Motorola, LG, Samsung, Pebble, and Apple. So first up, we have Samsung. Now Samsung has an array of smartwatches, most of which have been out for a while. However, some of them are really cool and really neat, such as the Gear S2. Now the Gear S2 features a round screen and a relatively bezel-less design, and you use the bezel as actually your main method of functioning throughout the watch. Now this is a really cool feature, but it is kind of a gimmick, much like Samsung does quite often. So I don't know personally if this is going to be a big future for this product, but I will say that this is a great product and is one of my top favorite at this moment. The next manufacturer I'm going to talk about is Motorola. And last year they released this cool smartwatch that was really round all except for a flat tire. And it was one of the most beautiful smartwatches on the market, and that was the Moto 360. Now recently it's been revamped for the second generation, and it's not significantly better, but it is a good upgrade. And the side button is slightly moved, flat tire's still there, but it's still that beautiful smartwatch that everyone loved. So it is one of the top contenders in my book. However, the limitability of Android Wear is really what brings this product down, and hopefully Google will address the issues and make it a better smartwatch for the future. Next up, I'm going to talk about LG, and they have my favorite of their smartwatches being the LG G Watch R. Now this watch reminds me a lot of the Casio G-Shock, and if you like the G-Shock and its design, then the LG G Watch R is a great next step for you. It has Android Wear, a completely round screen, and overall one of the most rugged designs and one of the best designs of all smartwatches currently on the market. Now, speaking on terms of that, it isn't the most attractive, but they do a good job of implementing it well. It is tiered to a more specific audience than, say, the Apple Watch, and I guess that's a good thing. It really just needs to fit your taste. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link to all the watches down below. Next, we're going to talk about a manufacturer that's not so big here in the US, but in China they are huge, and that is Huawei. Now Huawei isn't one of the big smartwatch players, however they do have the Huawei watch, and that is one of the greatest smartwatches currently on the market as well. It features a round display, a beautiful design, and is very resemblant to the Gear S2. So if you like that design but want something a little less mainstream, then go with the Huawei watch. It's relatively cheap for what it is, and it's one of the greatest smartwatches currently on the market. It runs Android Wear rather than Samsung's operating system, and I think you'd be really happy with it. Another smartwatch that is good but isn't one of my favorites is the Sony Smartwatch 3. Now this one is more active than most, and it's geared more towards a specific audience, a non-specific audience. It's so mainstream that people don't get it, if you understand what I mean. It's an okay smartwatch. It's not the best by any means. It's not the best designed, but it is a good alternative to a traditional watch. And if you don't want to spend high dollar getting any of the models below, and you want to spend relatively the same price for something that's still a great product, just not as beautiful, then go with the Sony Smartwatch 3. It's still a great watch and you won't be disappointed. Next, we're going to talk about my two favorite smartwatch manufacturers, and that is Pebble and Apple. Now Pebble, we're going to start with them, and they have 4 smartwatches at the time that I was thinking about making this video, but currently when I'm actually filming it, they have 5. So we're going to go into all 5. Now if you want the traditional feel, the original Pebble for $99 is your optimal option. It's pretty standard, black and white screen, not touchscreen, but it's a Pebble. It's going to be a Pebble. It is the Pebble. It was what originally brought them into the market and is one of the best smartwatches still to date. I still really like it. And a year later they came out with the Pebble Steel. Now the Pebble Steel is still a great smartwatch. It's not in color, it's e-paper. Still as great as the Pebble, just cater to more expensive audience. Then they came out with the Pebble Time. Now a lot of people called this a childlike design and they hated it right off the bat. Now I personally kind of liked it. I liked the red and the gray. It really complemented each other nicely, and it's one of my favorite smartwatches. Then a few months later they came out with the Pebble Time Steel, a more expensive, stronger variant of the Pebble Time, and both of those two came with a color e-ink display, guaranteeing really long battery life. Now, if you really want to get into details, you can look at the Pebble Time Round, which is their newest smartwatch. It is probably the most expensive. I would have to do a little fact checking there. But it is round, it is steel, and it does have a bezel. Now, but the bezel is colored to have like numbers on it to resemble a regular clock face, and it gives you a really traditional feel. And I absolutely love the look of it. And it's the thinnest and lightest smartwatch, Pebble is claiming. But the size of it, if you look at the side of it, like on my watch right here, it's not very pretty. It's not. It looks cheap, but if you don't look at the side, it is a great smartwatch alternative, and it does have a round screen, and it is color, so that is a great option. And the last option I'm going to talk about is the Apple Watch. Now, the Apple Watch is what most people consider when they think of the modern day smartwatch, and it is a great smartwatch. It has a stainless steel, an aluminum, and a gold model, and all three of which are overpriced for what they are, but they are still great products. Now, they do have the best app ecosystem in my opinion, and one of the best operating systems. Now, the app navigation isn't very good, so that's the one downside to it, and it's not the most attractive design. However, it is still a beautiful design, don't get me wrong, and they do have a weird digital crown. So I don't know why I'm even telling you all this, because if you're watching this video, you've probably heard of the Apple Watch, and if you haven't, check the link down below. But the Apple Watch is towards the top of my list, and is by far one of the best on my list. It is the most expensive one on my list, reaching all the way up to $17,000. But it also comes down to $350. So anywhere between there, wide range. If you like expensive, if you like cheap, you can't get cheap, but you can get expensive, and you can get relatively cheap for what you're getting. So the Apple Watch is probably my favorite smartwatch at this moment. I will say, heed my warning though. I have not tested any of these smartwatches, and I'm basing them purely off of design, what other people on the internet have rated them, and what the customer is promised by the manufacturer. So if you want a more in-depth look from first-party people, go on YouTube and search for people like Marquez Brownlee, Jonathan Morrison, Louis Hiltzinger, and all of those people will give you an in-depth look, and you won't be disappointed with whatever you get. The last part of this video, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tell you what, if you're the average consumer, in my opinion, what type of smartwatch you could get for what you are. So if you're a student that is in college, I recommend getting one of the cheaper options, such as the Pebble. It is still a great smartwatch, and you won't be disappointed. Now, if you're looking at Android Wear, now that's compatible with iOS and Android. However, the Apple Watch is only compatible with iOS, so keep that in mind as well. If you're a business individual, I would recommend getting either the Moto 360 second generation, the Pebble Time Rounds, or the Apple Watch. Now, I wouldn't go with the aluminum Apple Watch, I'd go with the stainless steel model. That is the more luxurious model, but not the $17,000 one. So you're still getting a good watch, it's just not the most expensive and not the cheapest that Apple offers. However, if you are not a business mogul, but you're still an adult, any of these smartwatches would be good. And they're all great smartwatches. The only difference in a lot of them is design, quality, and operating system. So if either three of those things matter to you, make sure you take your time and choose wisely. The last group of people I'm going to recommend this smartwatch to is the group that I'm actually a part of, and that is high school students. Now, high school students, if your school is like mine, then you don't want to necessarily get a smartwatch immediately. And that is mainly because our electronic policy prohibits cell phone use now. However, it doesn't say that smartwatches are prohibited, but I figure it's probably implied, and if you want to be on the safe side, I would stick with something a little more traditional. However, if you were to get a smartwatch, I would recommend getting either the Pebble Time or the original Pebble. I would not get a steel option unless you're the type of guy like myself that's really nerdy and likes that kind of thing. But if you're just the average individual, I'd recommend the Pebble or the Pebble Time. Now, however, the Apple Watch is a good alternative for people who invested in the Apple ecosystem. There is one watch, however, that I'm about to tell you about, and it's one that I have reviewed personally, and it's not technically a smartwatch, but it is a smarter than most watch, and that is the classic 1980s Casio Calculator watch. Now, if you like being a nerd, you like math, and you like anything to do with technology, but you're not willing to spend that hefty penny, this comes in at about $25 at max, and that includes shipping and tax. So it's a really great and cheap option. The calculator works really well. The buttons are kind of sticky, but it does promise 5-year battery life. So you don't have to worry about charging it every night. And all in all, this gets you attention. People will say, oh, that's so cool, or that's kind of weird. Either way, it gets you attention, and you don't have to worry about it getting broken as easily and as much as you would with a smartwatch, being how as those are more expensive, and you can't just go out for 20 bucks and buy a new one. So Casio Calculator watch is a really good choice. Now they do have this classic model, then they have slightly bigger models that do a little more, but this is the one I went with, and I've been very happy with using it. Well, that is it, guys. Thank you for watching, and make sure you like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this coming to you in the next few weeks. Now, I do have another video maybe in a couple of days, or maybe even today. I don't know. But make sure you check that out too, and make sure that you stay tuned for my review of the iPhone 6s Plus. It is on back order, but when I get that, I'll make sure to post it to you guys first. So, without further ado, have a good day, have a good week, and have a good life.